Didn't go above and beyond? I'll delete everything I did above and beyond. The original owner of the business I worked for was amazing. I'll call him Larry. He cared about every employee and realized how much we helped the company with our respective positions. He had even let me go negative on my sick time once when I was hospitalized for a week following a double pulmonary embolism with the agreement that I would work the time back. And I did. Just painting a picture of how wonderful Larry was as our boss. Larry finally retired after 45 years of running the business and sold it to his son, who I'll call Eric. Most people know how bad an idea that is. But Larry thought his son could handle it. He couldn't at first. But that's another story. Eric thought I wasn't doing enough during working hours. Office job. Dealing with inventory coming into a retail store. But what he failed to realize was that, since I worked up there for 6 years and got familiar with the work, I was really efficient at the job. So much so that I had collected more responsibilities each year. Larry was one of the main people pushing for me to take on more each year, with immediate raises every time something was added. Eric didn't have the same mentality. Eric fired me for being inactive for too long during the day, and another reason which isn't important here. Also another story for another time. So I was really active for my last 3 days with deleting everything I had created for the company. It was all above and beyond work. So since I didn't ever go above and beyond, they didn't deserve to keep it. It was signs for products, pictures gathered for advertising, vendor contact information, a program I designed to keep organized and on time for invoices, and a manual I had typed up on how to do my job. They had an old version of my job instructions, but by that time they were practically obsolete, especially with all my extra duties collected over the years. In the 2 years I've been gone, they've had at least 8 people hired for my position who quit within a couple months. I keep getting updates every few months from one of my friends in that office. Edit to address some questions and concerns. I did these things off the clock, on my own computer, except for some advertising images that were for past promotions and no longer valid. I never had to sign anything saying my intellectual property became theirs. Neither the job description nor handbook had anything about intellectual property either. I would send a card on the anniversary of your last day asking if you had gone above and beyond yet. I'm curious if Larry had any idea how his son was running the company, how he was treating you, or what his opinion was after you had been fired. Who the fuck fires someone and then lets them have access to the business and its resources for 3 days? Now you can be a consult. Larry thought his son could handle it. He couldn't at first. But that's another story. Oh, I'll bet you have a million about this guy. I hope you'll post more. I don't suppose there's any chance of catching up with Larry and having a chat about how the business has been doing under Eric. He had even let me go negative on my sick time once when I was hospitalized for a week, with the agreement that I would work the time back. And I did. I am sorry, but this sounds so wrong and I feel so sad reading it. In most of EU countries, when you get sick, the company or the government insurance covers you for the entire time. You can't get fired, nor you have to work those time back. Why the fuck do Americans have a maximum amount of sick time? That first paragraph sounds insane to me. The fact that what your former boss did is seen as such a nice thing. How can Americans put up with that shit? Good story, but I'd say it's more petty revenge than MC. Honestly, going negative on your sick leave after having a heart attack isn't a sign of a great boss. It's a sign of a competent one. He had even let me go negative on my sick time once when I was hospitalized for a week following a double pulmonary embolism with the agreement that I would work the time back. And I did. Just painting a picture of how wonderful Larry was as our boss. Most American sentence ever. You had some super serious hospitalization and the fact that you were permitted to work time back afterwards paints a picture of a gracious boss? I mean, aside from that, Larry does sound like a good boss, but the way you phrased that sentence felt nearly dystopian. This is more petty revenge than malicious compliance. You didn't do something you were told to do. You just acted out after you were fired. He had even let me go negative on my sick time once, with the agreement I would work the time back. This is what an okay owner does. Not a good owner. A good owner would have given you the extra sick time with no catch. Because you were in the fucking hospital, and a good owner takes care of their employees. Edit. I will give him credit for actually giving you a raise each time you took on more responsibilities. Though I see your edits and that doesn't materially change much. I'm not saying what you did was unjustified, etc., but for anyone reading this, it is all advised to do this on the way out the door, as it does open you up to liability. Even if you did stuff on your own time on your own machine. It's better if you didn't have to prove that to a court. Think about it from this perspective. I'm a programmer. I can't just code stuff on my machine off hours and copy it to my company's computer and then reverse Uno them by quitting and removing everything I wrote. Just be careful with y'all's compliance. It's really sad that having a double pulmonary embolism isn't excuse enough to just have off the time that was required, without having to work it back. You were in hospital with a double PE and only took a week off? And worked the time back. It's a wonder you survived. Having to work to make up the time you were off, having had a PE, does not make a good boss. If I'd had a PE, I'd get full pay the whole time I was off and a return to work that would be part-time initially, while I settled back in, also at full pay. Imagine having to work back time you had off for a double pulmonary embolism. Sick days are for the flu and stuff like that. That's just violently American. Eric sounds like a douche who's watched one too many management productivity YouTube videos. Delicious malice.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.